Hello, I'm Kads, and welcome to today's video. So first off, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays, Happy all the wonderful things. I had a great time. I finally did make it home to see my folks, so I was able to celebrate New Year's with them, although I did miss Christmas due to the winter storm. But I digress. I had a great time, so it was nice to take a break. I still played Raid, of course, but I was a little more casual with it while I was spending time with the family. So hopefully you guys had an amazing time as well, but it is time to get back into the grind that is Raid Shadow Legends. So there's a couple things I wanted to cover today, the first of which being what did I do for the past week or so while I was on holiday. So obviously I did finish the fusion, so if I scroll down here, I do have Nishak Verminlord. I summoned him a few days ago, and you can see his excellent superb build right here with 3 pieces so far. Now, I just don't have enough perception right now that I like to finish the build off, primarily the boots, but I have the foundation of it, and I'll just show you guys here. I do have attack percent on the gloves, triple speed roll, perfect with some accuracy. You gotta love that. And I have another piece here, attack percentage again, and that is triple accuracy and 1 speed roll. Perfect. So we've got 2 S tier pieces for him that are kind of balanced each other out with speed and accuracy, and I just need the boots to kind of round it out. Speed boots with accuracy, maybe attack as well, and then I can kind of fill the top, but I kind of need the boots. And then I already did put an attack ring on him with double attack and some HP, so good overall triple percent ring that has the favorable attack primary and then attack substats with HP, just helps keep him alive. So, and again, for my purposes, I intend to build him for Arena so he can be my force bomb champion against, Ultimate Death Knights and those types of enemies, Candrafons, Stoneskin, etc. But I also want him powerful enough that he can do the ally attack, Bommel one-shot strategy. So I'll see what I can put together once he's maxed out. After that, there wasn't much to work on, so I did my usual activity of heading to the Minotaur and tossing as much energy as I could in there before some other event or tournament comes up that I want to do. So I farmed some masteries on a couple of champions and just kept working on that. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention the Winter's Path. As you can see here, I didn't actually do it. Even though it was a really good deal, and you can check out some other content creators. I think Eherbad has a good one, and HH Gaming has a good one as well. But if you want to check out what's the best path, obviously if you're watching this video, it's basically over. So hopefully you did check out one of those videos to see. But it was a good deal, just like the previous one. If you were already pulling shards during the triple 2x weekend, then it was a pretty good return, 20,000-ish points to get, or no, 30,000-ish points, I think, to get 2 legendary tomes. And the equivalent for a champion chase or a summon rush would have been the same amount of shards for about 1 tome. So, and plus you get all the other rewards along the way. So, good deal if you were going to already pull shards. I wasn't going to, so it didn't really appeal to me that much. This is my shard count at the moment. I do have a lot, so you could argue that I could have pulled some. However, I wanted to err on the side of conservatism here. I was busy with the family, of course, but also I just think that there's probably going to be some guaranteed champion that I would like coming in the near term. And there's also 2x Ancients coming around the corner this weekend, should be coming around the corner this weekend. And we just had 2x Void, so I didn't feel like using more Voids. And, I'm still waiting to see if it was a one-off for the increased guaranteed rates that we had recently, or if that's the new normal. So I don't want to waste any shards until I kind of know and confirm. Also, since one fusion has just ended, usually within 2 weeks, they'll announce the next fusion. So I didn't have to use that many shards on the last fusion, but the next one, who knows what it's going to look like. So I also wanted to keep some shards around for that. And lastly, of course, we do have the champion training event that has started recently. You can see I'm already nearly halfway, 4,000 points. This is a quick one, 3 days, 9,000 points, 3,000 points a day. Pretty standard if you go by normal rates. But yep, so I'll be working towards that legendary tome and just working on some champion training as usual. I did 6-star my Hoskarul, who I summoned over the break. And I'm currently running him up as my intermediate campaign farmer. So he's going to run himself and the food, or he's going to level the food and he's going to run himself up to level 52 to join everyone else in the mastery queue. And so I'm just taking advantage of him. I did build him out in perception and perception. Yeah, double perception. And if you want to look at his total stats so far, he's not obviously the max level. So and he's not fully ascended yet, so he doesn't have a banner or an amulet, but he should be somewhere around 400-ish accuracy, 375. He's going to be near 4,000 defense, I think, maybe 35-ish thousand HP. He will have full crit rate. I don't have the crit rate mastery on him just yet, but he's pretty fast. He's going to be 230, somewhere around there, 230 speed, 400 or 230 speed and 350, 370 something accuracy. So great for Dune Tower control and plenty for faction wars as well. So that's what he's going to be doing. The second thing I wanted to talk about was actually CVC. I haven't really done a dedicated video about my CVC strategy, so I figured now would be a good time to talk about it since this one starts in a few hours. So for starters, there's going to be 2 times points on the Potion Keep and the Minotaur. Potion Keep is not that useful in the end game since most of us get our high level potions from Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss, but if you're somewhere in the earlier in the mid game and you're still having to farm Potion Keeps on a regular basis to be able to use your epic and legendary champions, now wouldn't be the worst time to use some energy on that. Minotaur, of course, same thing. If you need some masteries, now is a great time to do it. 2 times points. It's not quite as lucrative as running Spider, for example, but double points is still double points, and you still get the benefit of farming masteries. It's also worth mentioning that this CVC will feature personal rewards, so if you guys do manage to win your Clan v Clan tournament, you are eligible to get the milestone rewards, depending on how you did in your previous personal reward CVC. Thankfully, that was not during the holidays, so they got rid of that last one, but the one before is what's going to decide what tier you are in for this. I typically do around 200, 250, upwards of 300k if I'm really pushing hard, but I usually end up somewhere in tier 4, tier 5. I don't really care where I land. If we win, I get free stuff. If we lose, I don't get free stuff. So I don't really pay that much attention to it. I don't try that hard. As for strategies, the first thing, of course, is save all your arena fights, your faction wars keys. You save them for when the CVC starts because you do get a lot of points for doing tag team arena, normal arena, and faction wars. I will say that it is worthwhile to do stage 21, at least during CVC, because you do get a lot more points than running stage 20. So if you have an auto team ready, or you can suffer through manual maybe a couple times, depending on how hard your clan wants to go, stage 21 will offer you more points per key. Another great thing to do is level up your Great Hall. You do get a decent amount of points if you're willing to wait until CVC starts to work on your Great Hall upgrades. So for me, I'm going to be getting another tier 10, and then I'm going to be starting on Force Defense, so get a couple levels, probably get that up to level 7, somewhere around there, by the end of CVC. CVC is also a great time to book your champion, so if you've been saving your tomes, like I usually do, then it's a good time to use them. You get a 500 per rare, you get 1,000 per epic, and 3,000 per legendary tome you use. So you can see here that I have 97 epic tomes, which is a lot, but again, I'm in the end game, and so I don't really have that many epics to book. And you could ask, why aren't these candidates used? And usually it's either like Allure here, where primarily she's used for the A1. She doesn't really need books. That's all damage. She's not built for damage. She's just built for accuracy and speed and the crit rate, obviously, to get the ability off. Same thing with Rask. I just need him to hit on the A1 and crit and heal, so I don't really care about the damage he does. But you also have cases like Ugo here, where I just hit the lottery and I got the A2 and the A3 maxed out, and the A1 is left, and all 3 books remaining are just damage, which she's built as a support, not for damage, so it's not really useful to have those 3 books, so I just get to save 3. All that said, I will be booking Hosker Roll. I do want the maximum stun chance on the A1 and A2, and the cooldown on the A3 doesn't really hurt. It's, free stat, or not free stats, but it could remove stuns if we're stunned, and it could increase defense, increase resistance, etc. As far as legendary tomes go, I will be using some on Kyoku, primarily because I do want the passive on a lesser cooldown so that she can put up increased defense more often. Again, she's one of my Go Second champions for Tag Team Arena, but I do also want the cooldown here so she can stay under block damage for longer and ally protect for longer, and then obviously I want the debuff chance for decreased attack on the A2. The A1, if it's not maxed out, it's not going to be the end of the world. Like if the last 2 books are damage and debuff chance on the weekend, I'm not probably going to be too fussed to finish it out, but more likely than not, just given RNGesus, I expect that the A1 is going to be finished before the stats I actually care about. Another lesser known strategy that I like to use is using the campaign rares as rare tomes. So as you can see here, I do have a ton of rares already, and these are all going to be food. They're going to be 4-star chickens and or 5-star chickens. And so I don't really need to use the campaign rares as food. So if I scroll down in my vault here, you can see I have a bunch of the dogs and a bunch of the diabolists. So I can just feed them into each other, 500 points a pop, because effectively they are rare tomes. And so this chunk right here is worth maybe 15,000 points. And that's just for free while I was farming campaign like I normally do. So I like doing that, especially during personal reward CVCs. So it's a good chunk of points just from saving them up, because I don't really need to use them as real chickens. In a similar vein to the arena refills and such, don't use your energy today if you're going to use it tomorrow for whatever champion training or fire night or whatever else you want to do, spider, etc. So you can see that I have all my energy as well as my arena refills saved up in here. And I, like I said, I haven't done faction wars yet, and I haven't done Doom Tower, I haven't done Tag Team Arena, so all of those are ready to go. But of course, I do also have some energy stored from previous tournaments. No events gave me energy recently except the Winter's Path. But I do have 100 here from the Tag Team tournament. I didn't try too hard, 3,000 points. Top guy was at 20,000 points, which is ridiculous. So I didn't even bother pushing that hard. But Classic Arena, I have another 150 here, and I did manage to get first. So that's exciting. We claimed that together, actually. So I got 6 pieces of 5-star Relentless. Whoop-de-doo. We'll see what that gets later. But other than that, the inventory, of course, if they've been giving us energy refills recently. These do expire for New Year's. They've been giving us these recently, but these do expire in 99 days, so you don't have to use them. But if you want to use them for CVC, it's a good time as well. If we scroll down to my bottom here, I do have a couple that are expiring relatively soon, so I'm going to be using these. My limit is 5 days. I like to use them when it hits 5, just so I don't really push it and forget it and then miss out on 130 energy, which would be devastating. But so I knew that the CVC was going to be starting, and I also saw the champion training event coming up, so I didn't bother to use them just yet. So I wanted them to coincide just to get a little bit of efficiency out. So saving a couple energy refills, and I do have obviously many more that I could dip into if I wanted to. And again, since there was a post-fusion lull, I've been gaining a lot of gems. I think my last video I had like 4,800, and now I have 400 more gems over the past week or so, just from collecting some of the tournament event rewards in casual play. So I will be using some gems for energy, just to, 1, you get points for using gems during CVC, and 2, I get points for using the energy in various areas. So I'm going to be doing that, most likely champion training as well, working towards Legendary Tome. And something that I like to do that's not required, but I always reserve these monthly rewards when they come back. I just got mine recently, or finished mine recently. But this 400 energy, I always like to use it for Minotaur during a CVC. That's just my personal preference. You could easily just use this on Spider or whatever else dungeon you want to use it on, and you still get CVC value. But for me, I like to reserve this specifically for Minotaur, just so I get some progress every once in a while towards that. So that's what I like to do, but you can use it however you wish. But if you do have that monthly coming around, be sure to save these until you'll CVC, or save it until there's some reason you need to push for it. And the last couple things I do pertain to the forge and gear. So typically I just clear out my resilience and perception gear and just make as many pieces as I can. I tend to use my rank and rarity charms on perception because that's the more useful set, and it's more universally useful. I do use resilience as a filler set if I get good pieces that have high crit rate or high accuracy, high speed, etc. The same stuff I look for on normal gear sets, but it's not a primary thing. It's more of a filler set than anything. Most of the Doom Tower sets I don't really care about. Affinity Breaker, Fatal, they're not that useful. You could say I don't have many pieces because I don't farm those bosses. I generally farm Scarab for Untouchable. I farm Griffin for Guardian, and Dark Fae for Lethal. As you can see, the only one I really have a ton of is Lethal because Rotation 3 just ended. So I will be forging all 80 of these 5 to 6 star pieces. And I'm going to use some of my rank and rarity charms on this because I want to see if I can get some good 6 star pieces for my champions, and see if I can upgrade people from Savage to Lethal. Pertaining to leveling gear, this is not always the case, but in this case we do have an artifact enhancement event that will coincide with CVC. Be warned that the artifact enhancement bit starts 2 hours later than CVC, but nonetheless, they do overlap. So if you wanted to get some rewards and level up your gear, it'd be a great time to do it. It's a good chunk of points during CVC as well. So whether that be gear cleansing or checking gear for good stats and rolling it to 12, see what happens, or just rolling gear to 16 because you need to, whatever your plan is, it could be a good way to get a bunch of CVC points. All right, so that's going to do it for today's video. As I mentioned, I will be waiting for CVC to begin before I start going too hard, but I will be working on champion training as well as a little bit of Fire Night since there is a tournament going on, so I can get those resources. Once again, wishing you all a happy new year and good luck on your resolutions. One of my resolutions is to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2023. I'm currently at 60, but we can start small. The next goal is 100 subscribers. So if you are enjoying the content, feel free to hit that button down below. Thanks for watching and have a good one.